So right now, based on online events and kind of the strength you perceive of certain decks, what do you think? Let's do like what are the top three decks right now in the format? Not even necessarily just for like as plays for Merida, but just the
Yeah.
format in general. What are the big three decks?
Probably Dragapult, Gardevoir, and Lugia. And then I think um Archaladon and Miraidon are like the next two up. Actually, honestly, like Archaladon seems like it's kind of dropped off, fallen off quite a bit. A lot of that probably has to do with Gardevoir's popularity and success, because that's definitely a favorable matchup for Gardevoir. So even if you are favored into Dragapult, if like both those decks are like 15% of the meta or 12% of the meta, whatever, Dragapult and Gardevoir, taking a bad matchup to 12% of the meta doesn't seem great. So you don't want to be doing that probably. And then yeah, I feel like Lugia's got to be number 3 there behind them, if not even with them. And then yeah, I think Archalon and Marina are the next two up you would look at to be like, okay, what are the next two consistently most powerful decks? And then yeah, after that, honestly, I don't even really know, because I'm not a huge fan of like Charizard. If we assume Regidrago's unfavored to Gardevoir and Dragapult because of the Badoo, then Drago's a bad deck to play right now. And your Lugia matchup theoretically might even get worse, because now you're checking for other matchups that aren't Lugia. So, like, are you even going to play something like Temple of Sinnoh anymore? I don't even know. Do you have room for that if you have to deal with Badoo? And then, yeah, honestly, there's nothing besides those. There's nothing too much. I mean, I like the idea of like Lost Box. Would be the only other one that I like the idea of. And maybe there's some Terrapagos Dusknoir is always a deck that I'm always super under tested with. So there could be room for some kind of Terrapagos deck as well. Maybe even the Palkia deck.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some potential with Terrapagos that that I could see that being like a sleeper pick for like an early format tournament. No one's really talking about it, but it's obviously still very powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think I
There's
agree
something in
with you
there.
on those three being kind of the big decks right now. I think like it's obvious Dragapult is probably number one right now,
Yeah.
and then Gardevoir, yeah, it's like kind of caught wind. I mean, it caught a lot of wind at the end of last format as well, right? It
Yeah.
like picked up a lot more popularity, had good placements. Obviously, Henry Chow won the last regionals of the format with the deck, so yeah, I think it wouldn't be a surprise to see Gardevoir continue to be to move into a higher meta share spot than we've seen it in quite some time, to be honest. Because let's be real as well, another thing, it's kind of a last ride for Gardevoir as well for some people. It's been a popular deck, but doesn't look like we've seen too much Gardevoir post rotation. Not having
It,
a refinement Curlia is a pretty bad thing.
yeah, I would be surprised if it doesn't make a comeback eventually, maybe a couple sets from now, though, right? Like, it's such a
Yeah.
powerful card. You still have Drifloon, you still have Screamtail, you still have so many of the good attackers, if not all of them. I think we're just waiting for like probably a better draw engine to come around. The one thing I'll say with Gardevoir as well is like I don't think we'll see Gardevoir get super super popular. It'll be very popular amongst top players, but and we're actually kind of, I feel like, lacking a a more noob friendly deck right now, and because like Gardevoir's not going to be that deck. Dragapult, like, kinda, but not as much. I feel like Archaladon is probably going to be that deck, and I think Archaladon will probably be, or maybe even like a Ledge, which has also been decently popular in online tournaments. A deck like that is a little bit more new player friendly. Something like a Raging Bolt always seems to be pretty popular. We don't have a Raging Bolt anymore, so I feel like maybe one of those decks will just be like maybe a little inflated in popularity because of that. Like the Archaladons and Sarah Ledges might be a little inflated because of that, or
Yeah.
maybe even like Miraidon if that one ends up being pretty powerful in the format.